the thing is, in some way I got into this whole fashion world by coincidence because I absolutely didn't know what we were talking about. I was 18 years old and I was just finishing regular school and I was like, I had to decide something what I want to do with my life. I had a cousin who was very interested in fashion. And there has been a moment when I went with her to do some shopping. It was not really that we went to fashion shops, but she knew how to find weird things, and it was the moment of Saturday Night Fever. We're talking now 79. And she took me on a trip with her to an old lady who lived somewhere in the suburbs of a small village in Belgium. And she had got a stock of old baseball shirts from America, which means 70s. Everything was very tight and close to the body. Baseball shirts are this big bold numbers on it and everything. So she took one of these shirts and she put it on. I said like, wow, this looks nice, this looks very strong. I said like, okay, they are big, I fit in also, so I take one too. So it was Saturday night, we went out clubbing in the Netherlands, in Maastricht. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. The doors opened of this huge club, 3 floors high, and we both had these big shirts, and everybody was like, they looked at us, and it opened like when Moses opened the wall, or I don't know who the guy. Exactly. And it was like John Travolta's Saturday Night Fever. Everybody looked at us, we went on the dance floor, the people stepped. It was the first time in my life that I realized that a piece of fabric meant power if you do it right. And this thing, it stayed in my head. I was like 14 years old or something like at this moment. So I said like, shit, just a piece of fabric and people you get respect or you get attention or anything. So when I was 18 and I had to decide what to do with my life, I said, is there nothing that I can do with fabric or with clothes? And so these people who advised me on the studying things and what to do, they said, okay, there is in Antwerp actually an academy of fine arts where you can do sculpturing, where you can do jewelry, where you can do painting, all these things. And there is also a little small room where they do fashion design. I said, fashion design? What is fashion design? So I didn't know anything about it. I had to go there to do an exam to get into this school, but I couldn't draw. I never had a pencil in my hand. So I had to bring 5 fashion drawings, but I didn't know how to do it. So I asked a friend of mine, a girl who was like following technical courses, and can you draw me 5 girls with clothes on? She said, yeah, fine, I will do this. So I put my name under the drawings and I went to Antwerp to do this exam to get in. I remember still, we were sitting there all together because it was the same moment with Dries van Noten and Anne de Meulen. We were all at the same moment we arrived in there. But the first day, it was 2 days of an exam to get in there. We were sitting in a circle and in the middle there was a big white table. And on the table there was like a plaster head of Rubens, something as one of the figures of Rubens in plaster, white, a big thing. And we got all a big piece of paper in front of our nose and a drawing pen, and the lady said, draw it. I said, excuse me, how am I going to do that? I never did this in my life. So I started in the morning, it was the whole day. I started in the morning and I just did and in the evening it was ready and it was like a picture. It was 3D, the whole thing was there. Everybody in the room came to look at my drawing. They said, wow, you're very good. I said, ah, yeah? I think the communication is very, very important, but you can have power of communication if you don't communicate the thing, what the people, without knowing it, are sensitive for. It will not work. It has to be 2 things together. You have to be bright in communicating, but you have to be bright in communicating the right thing at the right moment. If I would have done this whole football thing 2 years earlier, it wouldn't have worked. It is the right moment, the right message at the right time, which is very, very important. But communication, like you say, is definitely, it's more important to communicate than to have a nice t-shirt, sure. The thing is, the fabric part, let's say the material part, the technology has such an evolution over the last year. I have to tell you, in the 80s, I remember every 6 months I run to the fabric fairs to look like what was new. It has been so advanced now, there is no way of doing something new. And people, if I'm really realistic, a young person or anybody who buys something, he is not sensitive at a very particular material. They don't, because you can't. You have to be very a professional to understand what is going on. A cotton t-shirt is a cotton t-shirt. You can have 100 coatings with fiberglass and anything in gold, but it doesn't do the trick. It's not important for an end consumer. The thing, if you make a leather jacket, it's a leather jacket. You make a wool coat, it's a wool coat, and there can be 1,000 different possibilities, all these things. So the material, in some respect, is for me secondary. The communication is more important. It will. The thing is, it goes like this. Sport is something which is universal. Like I say, fat, white, and it doesn't work. Even if now we start thinking like, okay, this whole football trial, it is like the rock stars in the 70s. Or it's gonna be there all the time. It's not gonna go away. Nobody is gonna stay tomorrow. I'm not gonna do any sport anymore because there is doping. There is doping in the media. When they spoke about Keith Richards getting drugs and all the things, it was also not a good thing. But it went on and on and on and on. So I think the sports thing is not something that we can say it is over. In our generations, it will not be over, definitely. Don't break the chain. Will die when the whistle blows. Never stop the action. Keep it up, keep it up. Never stop the action. The thing is, my vision is that today we have like companies like Zara and company like H&M, which we cannot say they are not there, because if you go there in these shops, you see tons of people and all the clothes. And the thing is, these people are doing a very, very good job, which means they are dressing everybody in a very fashionable way, because before you had also cheaper labels 20 years ago, but it was all rubbish what they made. Now it is nice. You can actually put it on and say like, okay, this is perfect. I don't need more. I had a Gucci bag and Prada shoes and I'm fine. You know what I mean? And this is the mentality how it's going, which means all the fashion houses, their thing is to become more and more luxury, because this is the only thing the only way they can go, because you cannot co-op with these people because they are so perfectly organized, which means in some respect the fashion which has been in the past like something where people looked at like, wow, this is not for me because it is like for the happy few, today it becomes something much more accessible for everybody, because you combine certain things if you are a clever girl and clever boy, and it goes like this. And the boys today are as clever as the girls, because they are not anymore like, I'm a boy and I don't care. This is not like this anymore. So in some respect, I think the whole thing opened up, and I think it is very healthy also to know that you have a Zara and that you have Chanel, and that these two can go together and that it's perfect. Dance to the river. Run to the river. Live to the river. Love to the river.
FashionTV.com